Hi guys, it's me again, Charles Norman from Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS.com. It is a website that allows college research for high school athletes. So we want to help you find the best fit for you if you're trying to get an athletic scholarship. We do some other things, but for this video, this YouTube channel that I'm doing right now, this is what we're offering to you guys, and we offer it to you at no cost. So if you look down below, I always put a code and I give you the instructions, and there's also a video down there that shows you exactly how the software works so that you could get a good understanding of it. Please use it. It is available to you at absolutely no cost. We do make offers inside. If you take those offers, it helps us out. If you don't, you still get to use the software. We think it's the best of the best. So in this video, we're going to talk about one of the biggest questions we get, and it is, how do I select the right college, the right school? I want to play, and I want to make sure I'm getting the right school, that I'm not going to be disappointed. And you know, it's funny, I guess it's just human nature, but nothing's ever perfect. We can't tell you exactly how to do it, but what I want to do in this video is I'm going to go through what I went through with my daughter, which caused me to create the software in the first place, and we think we made the right choice, but I think you'll find it interesting on how we made that choice. So let's start from the basics. So let's assume that you've already got some schools that you are looking to attend, like you've gone through everything you need to do. You've looked at the college, they have your major, they're in the area you want to be in, the environment is what you want, you know, is it rural, urban, on campus, you've done some visits, and you're pretty sure you've got, let's say 5. That's what we ended up with. We had 5 schools that we were really vetting hard, that wanted us and we were interested in. Now, 4 of them were on the West Coast. We're in California. So 4 of them were on the West Coast and 1 was on the East Coast. And just to break it, we ended up going to the school on the East Coast. So, and we had our list, and I've talked about this in other videos, and this kind of broke a lot of our lists, but I want to give you why we made that decision and how my daughter was key to making that decision. So we get this opportunity to go to this school and to visit, and it's back east. And the only reason we went to this school, this was our 4th visit. We had 5, and the NCAA, we're trying to go Division I. It's for girls basketball, and you get to have 5 visits where the school will pay. So the 5 schools we chose to do an official visit to were schools that were kind of outside of our area that we had to fly to, I guess is the best way to put that. We couldn't drive to those schools. And so when we chose this school, my wife wanted to go to New York. Now the college was not in New York, but she wanted to go there. So we flew into New York, stayed a couple of days, and then we went to go to the visit. So sort of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But this school was very interested in us. So we get down there, and the assistant coach comes and picks us up from the hotel to take us to the school, which is unusual. All the other schools we went to, the head coach came out to see us. So almost a red flag for us. But as we're driving over, when the assistant coach came to pick us up, my wife recognized her immediately. So my daughter had been playing all summer, and this is the fall of her senior year. So I want to kind of get some timeline here. So this is fall of her senior year. This is the early signing period. And so this is where you guys are going to find out the schools that drop off, because you've got this big list and you think you've got some things lined up, and you come to find out when it's time for them to start making offers, the phone's not ringing. The emails aren't coming anymore. What just happened? I thought all this stuff, I thought these schools loved me. And this is where a lot of people get the disappointment, and they end up waiting until the second signing in the springtime. So this is the early signing period. And if you can lock down something in the early signing period, I don't care what anybody else tells you, unless you're the best of the best of the best, take it if that is the school you want to go to. Don't take it if it's not where you want to go. But if it's a school that's on your list and you're okay with it, it's in your top 5, take that offer, because those offers come off and the school will fill that in. That offer may not be there later on. They're going to find somebody to take that offer. You may be number 1, but they'll take number 2 or number 3 if you're not going to take it, right? That school's beneath you, or for whatever reason you think you can do better. That's really what it is, hypergamy. So anyway, so we get to the school, the assistant coach brings us over to the school, and almost immediately they take us to the athletic building. And so we're there to meet the coach. And now we find out why the coach wasn't there. They're getting set up for practice, and he's trying to do something cool for us for the practice. So he wanted to stay to make sure it was right, which is a cool thing, right? And so we sit down, we're talking with the athletic director, and they're explaining how they're expanding their sports. And this athletic director was key for us. Now, what he was explaining to us was that their school, and back east, the colleges are right next. There's so many colleges back east, it's amazing. And this is a mid-major. This isn't a big giant school. So we had already visited, our first 3 schools were Pac-12 schools. So my daughter could play. And so there was an opportunity for her to go to Pac-12 schools. But one of the things I was trying to tell you guys on some of the other videos is these schools are sort of in the lower half of the conference, for girls basketball anyway. And so they weren't necessarily winning in the conference. And one of the things I try to tell you guys is, if you can, go to the schools that are annually in the top half of their conference. It's not that the Pac-12 schools weren't trying, but they weren't attracting the kids that were going to get them to the next level, and the schools in the top half of the Pac-12 weren't coming after my daughter. They were sending letters, but they didn't feel like they were really coming after her. And so that can kind of tell you where you sit in their eyes. It's not necessarily that it's 100% true, but it's something to think about. This is what they think of you, all right? And so, and perception is reality in a lot of ways. So it's something for you to think about. But anyway, so we go to this school, and so one of the things they were saying is it's so competitive over there to get kids to go to the school. Here's the other thing I want to tell you guys. This is why athletics is so big on the college campus, because all of those colleges are trying to get the kids that are going to pay the full tuition amount, or at least come to the school and get some money coming in. You know, they're going to take on some debt to go to this school. They need the money. The athletic program is a key way. You would think it would be more of the academics and all of that, but it's not. It's the athletics. Kids want to go to a school where they feel like they're winners. They want to go to a winner school. And so what they had found out, they had done their new board, and they were just moving in this direction where their athletic program, they were going to grow it. And this was important to them. And so they had decided to start with the girls' side. So they had started with softball, basketball, and volleyball for the girls. And they were building those up, and they were going to build the boys up too, but they wanted to start off with the girls because they wanted to get some wins in. And so their softball team and their volleyball team has started winning the conference, or being at least in the championship game. And that shows up in the news, the local news around, and that makes those high school kids want to go attend that school. That school's a winner. They just keep hearing the name, keep hearing the name. And so basketball was next on their list. And so they were one of the few schools that are a mid-major that were reaching out across the country. And this is really important. All this stuff is important because you want to get into the head of why that school is going to treasure your kid. And so anyway, so we had this long conversation on what they were trying to do, what their choices, what they were doing, and they were going to pour resources into these programs. And so that's great for me as a parent to hear. Now, I'm still not thinking we're going to this school, because the 5th school we're going to visit is the one that I want the most. My daughter liked one of the other schools. And so from there, we went to go and meet go over to the gym, and they were getting ready to have practice. And so what they did was the assistant coach was going to run the practice that day, and then they wanted my daughter to stay at the practice, and then the head coach was going to take us and show us the facilities. And so that's what we ended up. My wife and I, we went with the head coach, and we're walking around, they're showing us the facilities. Now, we had already been to 3 colleges, and we had been to a couple of other colleges also, that we saw what a big conference. The Pac-12 is a pretty big conference. I know there's some other conferences, the Big Ten, the SEC. I get it, but there's some impressive buildings on these athletic buildings on these campuses, and this one was really well done. I mean, it was new. You could tell it was new. All the equipment in there was new. The locker room was fantastic. It was really well done. You could see where they were putting their resources. And so we're walking through there, and then this was, one of the things I tell you guys is the head coach. If the head coach wants your kid, that's what you want. That's how you know you're in the running. When the head coach is calling you during the recruiting, during their junior year and their sophomore year, that's when that school really wants you. And so we're sitting down, the head coach told me, he sat me down, very honest guy, and he said, listen, your daughter was not number 1 for me, but my assistant coach, the one that came and picked you up, she is in love with your daughter, and I listen to her. And so I had another kid that I'm really interested in. And so there's a little give and take here, because I don't know if he's like putting pressure on me, or he's kind of just, you know, just saying stuff to kind of put the pressure on. So he's saying he's still interested in that other kid, but what he had done was he had sent a scout out to scout my daughter, even though he trusts his assistant coach, which is the number one. This is his number one assistant coach. As much as he trusted her, he sent a scout out to see my daughter, and he said, I'm gonna be honest with you, that scout said, if you get her, do not pass her up. If you have the opportunity to get her, you get her. He said that was enough for me. I got my first assistant, and I've got this scout that I trust, and saying that she can play at a higher level. If you can get her, get her. So he's all in now, right? And so they're showing us around, and we go back to pick up my daughter, and then we'll go back to the room, and then that evening we're going to go out to dinner, and the next day we're going to go to the men's football game. Basically, they bring you in for the homecoming game because they want to show all the pomp and circumstance, whatever's going on there, right? So we come back the next day. They've got a little tailgate thing going, so all of the recruits that came down, and we weren't the only one there. There was about 4 of the girls that came down, and their parents came. And then that's where we sort of got a feel for the other parents were saying, hey, you know, your daughter's not going to come all the way over here across the country to go to school, right? You guys are just visiting, right? You're not really interested. And I said, well, we don't know what we're going to do yet. And so I got that feel from there that we were welcome, but not really welcome. I don't know a better way to say that. Oh, and then the other thing that I missed out on for you guys is my daughter ended up spending the night with the girls from the team. So they kind of kidnapped her in my view, but she wanted to go. She was okay when she went to the practice. You know, she had been over there for a while, and she got to talk with the girls, and they, you know, I'm sure it's all a plan. But this was the first time that she had ever spent the night with someone, with the girls, without us. So we had gone back to the hotel room. They had picked us up. So we're coming back for this football game, and then we're going to leave that evening. Right after the game, we're ready to go back, check out of the hotel, and we're heading back to California. And so we go to the game, and on our way out, we go. The coach says, "Hey, come stop by the office." So we stopped by the office, and he said, "You know, this is an official offer for you guys. I just wanted to let you know it's an official offer." I let him know that we had seen some other schools, and we had one more school that I had promised that coach that we would come to visit, and I would know by next week. So this is a Saturday. I said, I'll know by Wednesday of next week. I will let you know what our decision is. And so that's pretty much it. And so we're driving back from where we were back to New York to fly back out to come to California, and I'm in the car, and my daughter and I are talking, and my daughter goes, "I want to go to this school." And I go, "I don't get that." And so I said all of that to get to this point. Le Creneau, I think is the name of it. I put it in the title up here, and it is officially, you know, find the niche, right? If you look it up on, just Google it, it'll be the niche, right? But I first heard those words in a business book years ago. I think the guy's name's Al Rise, and he has a business book. You can just look him up. But anyway, the idea from him was find the hole. It was about, you know, you want to start a business and you're trying to get some traction, find the hole. And so when my daughter told me that she saw, when she went to the practice, and my daughter's very astute on this stuff, what she saw was the girl that was running point guard at the time, she was a good point guard, but when she made the pass to the players, so these players have very intricate offense, right? Everything is flowing. It's a very good flow, and they have these great shooters. She goes, all these girls can shoot, and they're all good size, and she said they were all tough girls. So she loves that toughness in them. And she also talked about the fact that they were feisty. Even the bench players were getting into it with the starters, and all of that kind of stuff my daughter loves because she thinks it shows passion. But she said when the point guard was passing the ball for when they were running a play, the player was coming open, but she didn't pass the ball until the player was open. Now this girl happened to have the previous year had been a 12-point-a-game scorer, and her scoring had gone down. She was down to 7 points because she had to play point. Before she was playing the shooting guard, but now she was playing the point guard position. So my daughter's picking up on all this, and so she's listening to the conversation that night, and the girl that was previously a shooting guard, now the point guard, was saying how she hated it. She did not want to be the point guard. And my daughter saw that she was not a natural point guard, that she was a point guard in the way where she did everything right, but it was an effort for her. She had to really think it through, whereas for my daughter, it's very instinctive. And then my daughter said their offense always had counters, and she loves counters, which means you're trying to run the play, but if you see something or you feel something, you can come off of it because you see the opening, somebody's switching too much, or they're overplaying, they're trying to go over the top, and now you come back door. And my daughter anticipates that stuff, and so for her as a point guard, you have to take risks. You have to see the game. And I've always said for my daughter, the way she played the game was she was always 2 steps ahead of everyone else as far as the thought process. And once her teammates got on the page with her, it felt like they were doing magic almost on the court because things were happening. You've seen really good players. And so whatever sport you're in, look for that thing, right? That player has something where it feels like it's magical. How are they doing this? How are they so efficient? How are things working? How did they do this or that? Those are athletes that are thinking ahead of the game. And so anyway, so she saw that the players saw it too, but they couldn't execute on it. And so she saw where she could be there. And then the other thing that she saw was defensively, they couldn't put pressure on. They weren't aggressive defensively, especially at the guard position. That they guarded fine. They weren't letting anybody beat them, but they were playing defensive, if that makes sense to you, instead of offensive defensive, where you take the person where you want them to go. So she's looking at all these things, and what she saw were the holes. As we're talking about it, it makes sense to me. She saw where she could come in and play early. Is basically what she saw. She wasn't thinking she was going to be the starter or, that kind of thing. She's going to come in and be, I'm going to come in here and take over. That's what she was looking at. But she saw a potential for her to play early because the way she plays fits what they're doing. Now, I'm going to roll this back even further because this all kind of comes together. So remember I told you guys, this is all back in 2010. And so I told you guys back in 2008, I worked for the government. I'm a government employee, and however you feel about that. And so back then we were put on furlough because the economy was in trouble. So I had been put on furlough. So all of this was very costly for us, even just going out and taking these visits and stuff. And my daughter's getting ready to go to college. My son's already in college. And so we're hurting financially. But this all makes sense. Give me a second here. And so what we had ended up doing in her junior year, which is the key year for your kid if they're going to play travel and club, especially in the summer, because that's when the college coaches are coming to look. But we're in trouble financially here. And so I can't go to the best travel club team around me because it costs so much, right? I mean, we could have done it, but we got an offer from another group of kids. I'm in Southern California. I'm in LA area. Team in Ventura, which is still in California, but it's a ways away. They had a good team. It was a group of the high school kids. They were also juniors like my daughter. She had played with them before, just in general at some tournaments, just to fill in, and they kind of clicked. And so those girls from that Ventura school were kind of the girls from this school that we were looking at, that we were at. And so my daughter, for the first time, had got a taste when she played with the Ventura girls, and we did really well. We did not have that big kid, and it wasn't a big name club team or anything. It was just those high school girls, and then my daughter had a friend, and my daughter, and there were 8 of them. And all 8 of those girls got D1 scholarships. And so that taught me a big lesson. That Ventura coach was top notch, knew exactly what she was doing. They always won their league out there. But my daughter sort of joined them, and we went across the country. We went to North Carolina, we went to Oregon, we went to Chicago, and we played in the best of the best tournaments. We were always in the faraway gym, and I know I'm going a long way around this, but I just want you guys to get a taste of how we got to where we got to. We were always in the faraway gym, but we always got into the main gym because we would win, and we win. These girls could play, but they weren't on the top travel club teams. And top travel club teams, we only won one of those tournaments, but and that was when we got back to California. But we beat some really, really good teams, and so some of those coaches saw us. But every single one of those girls got a D1 full ride scholarship, and so I think that's an important piece of this. Anyway, that is how she got to appreciate what these girls were doing, and she got to appreciate, even though her style of play was different from how they played, she could fit in. She was the missing piece, and so I guess I'm going around all of that to say one of the things we're trying to do here at Sports Solutions and with AthleticSOS, I want your kids to start to see the world differently than everybody else, because you use our software, and we've got videos inside talking about this, that they start to see things through patterns, through the future, that they can see past the basics. Everybody should be looking at the school that fits them, that has their major, that the atmosphere is good, the environment is good, they like the campus, everything feels right to them. Those are the basics. That academically you're qualified, that you can do the rigors of going to college, you take your SAT, ACTs. These are the basics. You're in position. We talk about that all the time. But I want them to go past that. I want their thought process to be, okay, how do I fit here? How can I play early? What are they doing that makes me feel like I can contribute to what they're trying to do at this place? That's what I want. That's what I want our youth that are moving forward to think completely different than everybody else on, oh, I'm going to come here, we're going to win, we're going to win all these tournaments. This school is the top school. I can brag about it. And you as parents too, I can brag my daughter goes here, she's on, all of that's great, or your son. All of that's great, but that's not what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do is create the next wave of, and this is America, so I'm going to say the next wave of American kids that go, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be able to get that government job like my parents were able to do, or I'm not going to be able to follow the rules. You go to high school, get good grades, go to college, get good grades, get a great job, all of that kind of stuff, and go, and then you get to retire at a certain age. They don't get to do that anymore. And so they've got to think differently than we were able to think. We just had to follow the rules. It doesn't work that way for them. So I want them thinking in that way. What is the niche? Where is the hole? What can I feel? I want to start my own company. I want to start my own business. I want to do whatever you want to do. Where is the hole? Where is the niche? What is it? Le Creneau? You guys can look it up. Okay, so I'm going to stop now, but I just wanted to kind of get this one out for you guys. Let's go ahead and use the software. Like I said, everything for you that you need is down the bottom. Take a look at the software. It doesn't cost you anything to use. As always, I only wish the best for you in whatever you decide to do in the future. I just want to make sure you guys are doing it. If you want to play athletics, if you want to play at the collegiate level, use our software. It will help you get there. It can't get you the scholarship, but it can give you all the information you need to get the scholarship. All right, guys. Best of luck to you as always. Talk to you later. Bye.